Noon, all good afternoon. Let's go ahead and get right into today's information. So, as we know, today is July 1st, and there are some major changes that are happening with student loans. So, if you or anyone that you know has student loans, they need to know about this information right now. And there's no better person to explain this other than this guest that I have. She is an international speaker, successful businesswoman, of course, a student loan expert, but she's paid off well over $50,000 of debt in less than 2 years. And she has been talking about this for quite some time. So let's go ahead and bring to the front Miss Janae Adams. So, Janae, can you hear me okay?
I can. How are you doing?
Doing great, doing great. Glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be back. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So listen, I know that there are some people out here and they are just I think some people are in panic mode. Some people have no idea what's going on. Some
Hmm.
people are trying to ignore it like it doesn't exist. But listen, we need to make sure that people understand exactly what's happening. So, first things first, let's get right into it. So, today is July 1st. And you mentioned to us, as when we did a recent interview with you, that student loans will be making some major changes. You've been on news outlets. You have
Yeah.
an Instagram video that's doing over millions of views, just giving people advice on this. So, for those who don't know, or for those who may have missed it, what exactly is going on?
And so it depends on who you are. If you're someone that is still in college, it's one thing. If you're a student loan repayment person, then it's a different. So those that have student loan repayment, I would say one of the major changes today, especially if you're in SAFE, which is the Biden era repayment plan that was struck down by the courts. Now you have supposedly starting today, and I say supposedly because a court case, since the last time we met, a court case came down and struck down that they have to now give 30 days from July 1st. And so
Wow.
we actually had new development since the last time we talked. So
Wow.
supposedly, and I always like to do supposedly because an appeal can come and change all of that. But as of right now, people at the earliest in the SAVE program will have to switch plans by September 29th. But I'm telling everybody who I'm meeting with, I'm telling everybody who asks me the question, just to stay alert because that can change anytime. So that's what the July 1st has to do with these repayment plans as of right now.
Wow. Okay, got it. And so again, like you said, these things can change, at any time. All right. So
Hmm.
now let's go deeper into this because we know that obviously this administration has made some changes. And
Hmm.
like you said, the SAVE plan is no longer an option. But let's go ahead
Yeah.
and break down some of these things as well, too. So for example, if for someone who is just now hearing about today, but they have a different situation. Let's say for example, they want to take action right now. Is there a difference between who needs to take action right away and who
Hmm.
has a little more time to figure things out?
Well, now with July 1st being here, that was pretty much the clock is ran out. Right. And so now those that are in the SAVE program, they have pretty much 90 days. They will be reached out to by their service loan servicer. They do have 90 days to pick a new plan. I would not wait 90 days. For other borrowers, such as Parent Plus loan borrowers, that July 1st was your deadline if you needed to consolidate to get into what they call ICR, because that's the only way you could get into IBR. And so it, like I said before, it definitely depends on who the borrower is. But July 1st was that date. And now everybody is just thinking, okay, what do I need to do now? Depending on what kind of borrower I am. People that are in the pay as you earn, so that's PAYE. So if you see that as your option, or if you're in IBR as in boy, income based repayment, just know that you're fine. It's nothing for you to do, it's nothing for you to change, but it's those safe borrowers who are now have the clock ticking for them.
There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, go ahead. Pick up. Let's go back to that point that you were making.
Yeah, so what I was saying, right now, those that are in save are the ones that can really take their time. They have pretty much 90 days. I wouldn't wait the 90 days to change everything. But everybody else, like the Parent Plus loans, they had to July 1st. If they didn't make the moves they needed to make, then it's unfortunately too late. And now they just have to figure out, how am I going to pay the extra money that's going to cost me to pay these loans back? For people who are in pay, so pay as you earn, PAYE, as well as IBR, so B as in boy, ICR with a C as in cat. You all are fine. You all are already in a payment plan that qualifies, but Save is the one that has to make moves right now. So they're the ones that are looking at the dates each day.
Wow, got it. Okay. And there were a lot of people that were in Save, right? Like millions of people who
Mhm.
were in Save.
Yes.
Got
Yes,
it.
it's 7 million.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go. Let's continue on then, so people can understand this. So now, what's the biggest mistake that Save borrowers could make over the next 90 days?
I would say the biggest mistake is not choosing the best plan for you. I would even go as far as looking at your payment plan and saying to yourself, okay, this is the lowest payment plan for me. And you're not looking at the other numbers. You're not looking at the interest that will be paid over time, the amount you're going to be paid during that time, how long it is. If you don't look at all the numbers, not just your lowest payment, you're going to find yourself in a world of trouble and end up paying more than you have to, just because you went for the lower payment. Now, people, if you have to do the lower payment because that's what you can do, then that's fine. I would say another mistake. Now that RAP, that's the payment assistance plan, that's the newest one, that's 30 years. It is more than likely going to be the lowest plan, but it's 30 years. So if you more than
Mm,
likely you're going to get added to it. And understand, you might get into rap and say, I don't want to be here anymore. And maybe you spent 2 years there. If you go to another plan from rap, none of those months count. You lose them all.
mm,
So there
wow.
there are some traps, unfortunately. And I said this before, is it makes me frustrated because this is complex, and everybody is not like me. Everybody did not read the big beautiful bill, every word of it. Nobody has been in student loan policy for 15 years like me. I eat, sleep, and breathe financial literacy, student loan policy, and so forth. So I'm able to look at a page real quickly and say, that's the one. We looked at that's it. Nobody's a lot of people aren't able to do that. And so it makes me frustrated for what the people in the SAFE program is going through.
Wow. Yeah. Like you said, it's almost as if it's being just complicated, just on
Yes.
purpose. And
Yes.
that causes confusion, especially when people are trying to figure out what their next move should be. And people don't know what the first step, should be. So let's continue
Mhm.
on. So now let's say, for example, that if a borrower gets a letter in the mail or an email about,
Mhm.
as you mentioned, switching plans, what should they do before choosing anything? Like, should they look at their
Yeah.
budget, or what should they do first?
I would say first and foremost, go to studentaid.gov and go to that. They have changed the name again. On the, it used to say student loan estimator. Then it said loan estimator. This is all in the last 2 weeks, by the way. Now it's
Wow.
saying repayment calculator. So every time I'm with a new client, it's something else that I have to find on the page. And so as of yesterday, they have changed that's part of the site again. So it may say repayment calculator or it say loan estimator. Either way, once you click on that and put in all your tax information, it's going to tell you what your estimated monthly payments are and what plans you qualify for. So you're going to look at all of that on studentaid.gov. Now, any plan that you pick is going to cost you more each month than the Save plan. Save was the
Wow.
most generous. So go ahead and get into your mind, I'm going to pay more in repayments for my student loans than I did before. Okay. And then pick the right plan before you reach out to your student loan servicer. You want to have everything written down so that they can't trick you into something else. And that's what I
Right.
would tell people to do. And if you're looking at the payment, you're saying, okay, this is more than I, had paid before, and it's making your spending plan or your budget tight. Start to think about, where am I going to find this extra money before I start paying it back, so that you don't feel that financial squeeze whenever that bill comes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that brings up another point as well too, is
Mhm,
that listen, you're not by yourself. I want everyone to understand this.
mhm.
Everyone that's watching this video, either you or someone that you know that has student loans, you are not by yourself. Okay. Janae has put together an actual course that's specifically for people in this situation, and it is the student loan repayment master class. Okay. So if you want to learn more about that, you can scan the QR code right here on your screen to learn more about that. And that way, listen, if you all need some guidance, if you have questions, if you're not sure what's going to work best for you, because a lot of people, they've been calling Department of Education and they've been getting, confused about a few things, because let's be honest, a
Mhm.
lot of people, they don't really have this conversation like that. So, but let's
Yeah,
continue on so we can get more of those questions, answered here. So now let's say, for example, that if so, what happens if someone ignores the notice because they feel
yeah.
overwhelmed or if they feel confused, as I mentioned?
Well, just know that even though you're ignoring it, it's not going away. They are going to keep the time going, and eventually you're going to become delinquent, get into default. And when that happens, your wages are going to get garnished. The only way that your wages aren't going to get garnished is if you don't work anywhere and you have no money. And if you have no money, then I understand why you're overwhelmed and confused and all of that. And you have to keep your necessities going first. That's first and foremost. But if you're someone that has a job, gets a paycheck, they're going to garnish your wages. And then of course, if it's around tax time when you do this, they're going to take your refund check as well.
Wow. Okay. That lesson. So
Mhm.
pretty much the people who don't do anything about it, they're just going to
Yes.
get their tax refund taken. Some people haven't seen a refund in years.
Yeah.
But they feel like that's the best way to do it, and it's not, because it's growing in interest and fees, and
Hmm.
you just ignoring it is not the best route to go. But obviously, I get that everyone's in a different
Hmm.
financial situation. So if you could say, if there was one borrower that was in a situation more than someone else, what type of borrower is most at risk of seeing a major payment
Yeah.
increase?
I would say the one that's most at risk right now that they will see is going to be those parent plus loan borrowers who did not consolidate in time and get into ICR, and so that they can move to IBR. Those, because they're going to end up in standard, and standard is going to be the highest monthly payment. So those are the ones that I was urging a lot before July 1st to get things done, and now it's too late. And now they're going to have to just look at what their standard repayment monthly cost is and how they're going to be able to make up the difference from what they had before.
Wow. Got it. Okay. So make up the difference between what they had before.
Mhm.
Okay. So now, in your opinion, what should borrowers prioritize? Whether it's like you mentioned earlier, they
Yeah.
could go 30 years, and that may sound attractive because obviously, it's going to be the lowest payment.
Yes.
But then on the same time, you also have the fastest payoff option,
Yeah.
or the best approval strategy. What do you think it like? How should people
Mhm.
make that decision?
And the only reason, and I'm all about understanding your individual situation, financial situation. Some people have to go with the lowest payment, but they have to make up in their mind that I'm fine moving into this 30-year repayment plan. And if not, if you go into the 2025 year plan, your payment will be higher, but you will pay it off quicker, which means less interest paid to it. So anytime that anything is shorter in the student loan repayment program, you are going to pay less overall because it's shorter. The longer you spread it out, the more you're going to pay in interest. And so you just have to have a really good strategy when you're looking at these numbers. You have to understand your financial situation and what you can handle, because some people can't handle the higher payments that come with those shorter term years, because we even have 10 years as well. And so it's just about being able to recognize what your situation is.
Got it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So now, obviously, people can come back, watch this video, take some
Hmm.
notes. But
Yes.
what's one of the ways that people can connect with you? And you know what, before you answer that question, because I
Yeah.
know a lot of people are trying to figure out, what their best route is going to be. I do want to mention to you all that, listen, Janae, she put together, a course for you all. And it's
Hmm.
to actually walk you through this entire process. It's a student loan repayment masterclass. And listen, if you're struggling about this, you're not sure exactly what you need to do, listen, scan this QR code to learn more, because you're not by yourself. You can get these questions answered. You can get the help, that you need. But what are some other ways that people can get in contact with you, Janae, if they
Mhm.
wanted to just continue to see,
Yeah.
just to keep up with everything that's going on in the future?
Definitely. And like I said, I am all about financial literacy, personal finance. And so I talk about money daily on social media. So my Instagram is at Janae Adams Speak, and my YouTube is at Janae Adams as well, where I'm talking about the money news of the week. So if you're somebody that just wants to get better with your finances and just learn so you can make better decisions with your money, those are definitely the two places I will start, because links are there. And then, of course, my website is www.debtsucksuniversity.com. So paying off debt sucksuniversity.com. That is my website.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Janae, we greatly appreciate you stopping by. And not only that, but like you
Mhm.
said, there's a lot of people out here. They don't really quite understand the changes that
Yeah.
are coming, not just with student loans, but like you mentioned with the big beautiful bill, and
Yeah.
breaking it down and understanding. Hey, listen, this is what's about to change. This is when it's going to change. This is
Yes.
how to prepare yourself, and this is what you should and should not do. And so this is just one of the changes, because I remember you saying in our first interview
Yeah.
that there are more things on the way. Is there anything else we should know of, and know that we can start preparing for in the future?
Yeah, and we talked before July 1st. And so now the
Yeah,
changes are here. And that
yeah,
is what people need to know. They need to understand, if they're in college right now, that if you take out any loans after today and going forward, you only have access to the two new plans from the Big Beautiful Bill. That's the 10-year standard, and that's the 30-year wrap repayment plan. So you all that are in college, you have kids in college, that's what they have left. For those of you who want to go back to college, understand that you are under the new, pretty much, loan options. And that is, the if you want to go to graduate school, you only can borrow 20,000 a year, and with a top of 50,000 per year. If you are someone that's going to medical school next, you only can borrow 200,000, and medical school costs 400,000. So you need to start thinking about where you're going to get 200 more thousand dollars to be able to go to school. There are so many changes around loan caps and what people will be able to borrow, that is going to be something seen within the next year or two. We're going to see the fallout from it.
wow. Wow. Well, listen, we're most definitely going to be keeping tabs with you to make sure that we stay on top of these things and any other changes as it,
Mhm.
pertains to our personal finances. And thank you so much, Janae, for not only being on top of this, but taking out your time and just answering questions and making sure that people have some sort of way to go, as well too. So thank you so much for that. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.